Hey boys and girls, hopefully this video won't cut out on me. I don't know what's going on with my iPad, but you know, technology's crazy. Okay, so today we're going to talk about, I'm going to start trying to wrap up hurricanes. I've taught you everything I pretty much know. I wish you were in class. I could show you a lot more videos. We could talk a lot more, but I'm going to start wrapping it up today and tomorrow. And we're probably going to start on something a little bit new tomorrow. Probably start talking about some clouds. But what I want to talk to you about right now is hurricane hunters. All right. And these guys are why we always know what we know. These guys are basically a transmission from the hurricane to the hurricane center to let us know what a hurricane's going to do. So these people right here, so these are the type of aircraft they fly in there. They have propellers on them, okay? Big, huge, heavy planes that can withstand a lot of wind. So this is a crew right here of hurricane hunters, and there's a bunch of crews of them. And what they do is they basically cross section and they try to fly through the hurricane as many times as they can so they can collect information about the hurricane. And they do this when it's a tropical storm. Sometimes even when it's a tropical depression, they will do this just to try to see what the weather's doing, what's the pressure doing, all these things. And they want to be able to tell people like us and you if there's going to be a hurricane coming and what the hurricane's going to be like. You know, I've talked to you guys all the time about what hurricanes, can bring. They can bring high winds and heavy rains. Well, how do we know all this stuff? And it's because of these guys right here and what they do on their missions. I'm sorry, I keep checking my time. I don't want my video to stop. So let me show you a little bit about what they do. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw just a basic hurricane. Okay. And I'm not going to go crazy. Doesn't have to be perfect. So there's my hurricane. And obviously there's the eye of the hurricane. So when a hurricane plane approaches a hurricane, they're going to go through it, and they're going to go through it a bunch of times, kind of like, I don't know, you had a knife and you were going to stab a milk carton with it, okay? So if they come and let's say they start flying from way up here, they're going to fly through it like this. They're going to go up and they're going to fly through it across like that. Go up, fly through it again like that. Go down, and just keep doing that until they have covered all the outer rain bands and the eye wall and the eye. So it's a really daring mission, in my opinion. It's a little bit crazy to even think that someone would want to go up in a plane into a hurricane that has 200 and some mile an hour winds and get data. Well, let's talk about how they get that data. Obviously, they don't jump out of the plane and put a thermometer outside. What they do is when they're flying through the hurricane, they drop something out of the back of their plane, and it's called a dropsonde. Okay, and inside this dropsonde, which this is it right here, that's what it looks like. It's like a cylinder. Okay, and on top of this cylinder has got a parachute. So they pop it out of the back of the airplane and it starts falling. The parachute keeps it from falling straight into the ocean. And as it's falling through the hurricane, getting tossed about by the wind, it's taking data. And the data it's taking is the temperature of the hurricane, the pressure, how low is the pressure, because remember, low pressure is a bad storm, how much precipitation is falling, what's the humidity, and which way do they think it's going to go. All of these things are collected by this guy right here, and as soon as the information is collected, it shoots it automatically right back up to the airplane, and the airplane sends it to the National Hurricane Center, where they start to dissect all this data. And that's how we start learning how these hurricanes are blowing 150 miles an hour, is because of this little guy. Okay? Now, it's not a very chill job, to put it mildly to you. I wouldn't want to be in there bouncing around. I don't know how many of you guys have ever been in an airplane before, but you're really bouncing around, and it's probably not very comforting. So this guy right here, this is one of the engineers on a Hurricane Hunter plane, and he has in his hands right there a dropsonde, okay? And this little tube right here this tube goes to the outside of the plane. So whenever the pilot says, hey, you know, drop sonde guy, go ahead and drop one, he'll take it out of his hands, pop it in that tube, and close the door, and it pops out of the back of the airplane. And they don't go and collect these after they're done. They probably just go into the ocean and sink to the bottom of the ocean. But they're very, very useful. So here's a real NASA plane right here, and there is a drop sonde being dropped out of the back of the plane, and the parachute does not come out yet. So I think that's where it popped out right there. I'm not exactly sure. But these are essential in us knowing what type of weather is gonna come, all right, as far as hurricanes come. Now, I wanna show you a couple of things. I got some cool videos, and let me make sure that the video's still playing. Ah, lovely, it is, okay. So this right here, I've got both hurricanes I showed you yesterday, the ones that grew. This is gonna be Hurricane Irma's eye wall and the eye of Irma. And then we're gonna do Dorian's eye wall and Dorian's eye. What I want you to notice about this is how crazy things are, and then all of a sudden it's peaceful. And what they're doing is they're